Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a pre-fight show for UFC 223. I think this is the final main card. Let's hope so. I'm tired of the changes. I think everyone is, especially Dana White. He must be exhausted at this point. I don't know how he does it sometimes. Okay, so there's a pre-fight rundown of the main card of UFC 223. We're all assuming at this point, at the time of this filming, that the card is definitely 100% not changing. This is the way things are no matter what at this point. So this is go over my predictions and a quick rundown of the main card, and let's get started. So in the main event, we have a catchweight bout at 155.2 pounds. Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Iaquinta. Like when Khabib was fighting Max, I picked Max, and then when Tony was fighting, when Max was fighting Khabib, I picked Max, and then when Tony was fighting Khabib, I was like 51% chance Tony wins, and then when I went to Anthony Pettis for that small brief while, I was like, oh, for sure Khabib's gonna win this fight. Now that it's Iaquinta, I gotta go with Nurmagomedov, second round submission. I think that wrestling and that judo skills, the sambo wrestling and the judo of Nurmagomedov is the difference maker here, and I think that stifles Al's wrestling ability. Al's a talented wrestler, but I think it just stifles that, and then also submission skills are not quite on the same level as Khabib. So I'm picking Khabib second round submission, and he will become the UFC lightweight champion of the world. Then in the co-main event in the women's strawweight title fight in the UFC, we got Rose Namajunas defending her belt for the first time in a rematch against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I am picking Joanna by decision here. I think she comes in with a more aggressive game plan and finds her range a lot quicker and really tries to have good striking defense on here to avoid getting knocked out again. Then, so I think this goes all 5 rounds. And I think Joanna wins about 3 rounds out of the 5, just barely squeaking out a decision win. Maybe 4 rounds. Excuse me. And then in a featherweight clash, we have Renato Moicano versus Calvin Kattar. Both these guys are very talented and I think are going to have careers in the UFC. But I got to go with Calvin Kattar on this one. I think he gets it done by decision. I think that his striking is good and his takedown defense is good enough. So he'll win on the stand-up here and keep the fight standing and outpoint every round to win a unanimous decision. Then in the featherweight division also we have Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Kyle Bochniak. I think Kyle's going to be taken down pretty easily in this one, and Khabib is going to get a first round submission, probably rear naked choke. Then in the lightweight division to kick off the main card, we have Joe Lauzon versus Chris Gruetzemacher from Ultimate Fighter, and they're both from previous season's Ultimate Fighter, but the more recent season was Chris. I'm picking. Both these guys are really trying to find their second or third or fourth or fifth gust to win of momentum in their career, I guess, coming off multiple losses. Both these guys. I think Joe Lauzon, his submission skills get it done here. He gets submission round 1. I think he's really good at getting guillotines and rear naked chokes, and I can picture him getting rear naked choke mid to late in the first round here. And honorable mentions on the prelims, you got Felice Herrig versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Great match at strawweight, and then you got Beck Rollins versus Ashley Evans Smith in this card. Two flyweights that are very talented in the UFC with something to prove going into this fight. That definitely need a win, both of them. So they're both fighting for their UFC careers, essentially, in my opinion. And that wraps up the pre-fight show for this card. Hopefully this is the card that sticks. If anything changes, I will put my additional thoughts in the comments or updates on my predictions in case, just so you all know. So that way I'm not like, that way it's somewhat updated of a video. And stay tuned in the coming days for my post-fight on this pay-per-view. I think this is going to be a fun pay-per-view still. I think there's a lot of potential for good matchups. I mean, great fights. You got Devin Clark versus Mike Rodriguez. That's going to be our barn burner. I think we're going to see a big knockout on that one. Rodriguez, I think, is going to have a big knockout to welcome himself into the UFC on that one. And so, yeah, there you have it. There's my predictions for UFC 223. Iaquinta versus Khabib Nurmagomedov main event. For now, or final, let's hope so. And again, stay tuned in the coming days for my post-fight show of UFC 223. And until then, see ya.